Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts. And today, like every single weekday, we're coming at you live from our studio here in Las Vegas, Nevada. We survived the hurricane, and, well, we're here, guys. Today's show, we're talking about a mysterious whale who is accumulating Bitcoin, now becoming the third largest holder of Bitcoin, all in a matter of 3 months. Who could it possibly be? Timeline suggests it might just be BlackRock. We'll go discuss that. We're also talking about Avalanche and what you should be aware of, a massive token unlock. So if you're a holder of Avalanche, you're not going to want to miss the show. We also have Dan from the Chart Guys joining us to go over some of the charts of your favorite altcoins. But first, here is your other co-host, Robin.
Hola, it's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we are the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take old, boring, and stale information and package it up in a fun and sexy way.
No, Bitcoin's not over 30,000.
Why do you think why are you assuming I'm
Because
asking?
literally every show, that's what you say.
It's not?
Damn it. You know, I try to find about 5 to 6 funny stuff to show, but today I only found a couple of them. But something that's not funny is your networking and your cybersecurity if you run a business. And if you take it serious, you're going to want to call Kim's Blue Wire Technology, our first channel sponsor. If you want to maximize your networking, IT, and your cybersecurity, you just don't have the time or the expertise to do so. When you want to focus on making money for your business, you need to call Cam's Blue Wire Tech. Visit bluewiretech.com or click the link in the description of this video. Now, I do have a video. This is from Douglas Bonaparte. We have the U.S. economy avoiding a recession. And, well, what does that look like on a visual scale? Well, here it is. I mean, how perfectly do you have to, that's just an act of God, right? So the U.S. economy not completely going into hyperinflation or falling apart is also potentially an act of God. Rob, do you think at some point, now we heard, mild recession, soft landing, and now they're saying, nope, we're not going to have a recession. Has your outlook changed with anything that's happened? The credit card delinquency rate's at an all-time high, $1 trillion in consumer debt. You have the GDP is looking to explode 6% this quarter when the numbers come out next month.
You know, I think a standing ovation is in order, and that we should really praise the United States federal government for avoiding a recession and slowly bleeding us through inflation without having any kind of reset or accountability. Good job, guys. Wow.
Round of applause.
They did it. You know, and so
we made it, guys.
We felt the inflation, and instead of having to hold anybody accountable or make anybody forced to pay their debts, we just printed our way into a slow bleed. So.
You know, I actually put a tweet out. This was, I believe, on Friday or Saturday, one of those days. And, you know, I've always been intrigued by, and don't interrupt me for give me 2 minutes, okay, Robin? I've always been very intrigued by macro. I was studying it in college prior to having to come back in 2008 because my dad lost a business to house, so I had to come back and help my family. But long story short, macro has always been something I've been intrigued by. And so, you know, just watching a lot of videos, reading a lot of books, and kind of just understanding and trying to extrapolate what is the Fed and the government doing now, and how is that going to affect, what kind of ripple effect is that going to cause in the market? And I started thinking, I'm like, okay, you know, we talk about on our show, take profits, take profits, right? But, and I'm speaking specifically right now to Bitcoin. If we're talking about the way the economy is set up now and monetary policy and how terrible it is and inflation and losing purchasing power, why would we be taking profit from Bitcoin, a hard money asset, into a continuously devaluing currency like the US dollar, or pick any currency out there, any fiat currency? And so I started thinking, I'm like, eventually we're going to get to the point where, because every empire collapses and its currency that's tied to it collapses as well. You look throughout history, nothing is forever, nothing. Neither will the US dollar be. And we're already see that trend start to go. Japan, less US Treasury securities on their balance sheet. China, same thing. You have other countries that are completely staying away from it now. So what happens when the Fed's going to have to continuously print money again and again to pay our bills, to stimulate the economy, to get us out of recessions? Well, a majority of that now, instead of going overseas and being dispersed, is going to stay in-house. And what's that going to cause? Hyperinflation. And so I look around me and I'm like, okay, the time-tested way that people have hedged against monetary debasement, right? Currency debasement and losing value has been gold. But well, what's the second coming of gold? And it's Bitcoin. And so for me, my new thesis, I don't plan on like the Bitcoin I buy, like that is Bitcoin. I am never converting back to fiat. Now, I don't know how you guys might think I'm crazy. Rob, you might think I'm crazy. That's just what I've been thinking. And it all comes down to, do we trust the government to make these decisions? Like you mentioned, inflation, it's theft, right? And actually, you know what? I was going to save this for a little later, but I'll just show it to you right now. I've talked about on the show multiple times that they're going to eventually move the goalpost up from 2 to 3%. And we're already seeing it. This is Paul Krugman, one of the leading macro analysts. He's citing Jason Furman saying, I agree with Jason Furman's call for a 3% inflation target. The rationale for 2% has been overtaken by a couple decades experience. So, like, where does it stop? Is it going to stop at 3%? Is it going to go to 3.5%? Is it going to stop at 4%? What do you think, Robin?
Well, nothing's going to change fundamentally at its core. And if they move it at 3%, if they get it down to 1.5%, they're like, well, look how good of a job we're doing now, right? And
okay, so you think they're moving it up to make themselves look better, or they're moving it up because they know they're not going to be able to get to 2% because inflation is that sticky? Because you're past the point of no return, right? Like, we're adding close to $1 trillion, I want to say every month or every year, to our debt.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I know that nothing is going to change fundamentally, and we're getting in an environment where we keep borrowing, and soon enough, what like the big problem with like Venezuela, for example, is that they print money just to pay the interest payments on their debt. And at this moment, we are printing money to facilitate spending. We have an inflated military budget, a lot of other things. But at some point, if we don't pay down our debt and their debt keeps increasing and our interest payment, and we just keep making interest payments, at some point, we're just printing money. We're inflating our currency just to pay our debt. And if it doesn't go the other direction, then yes, those percentages are going to have to move up. That's not even a question, because in the past, in like the 90s, we weren't printing to pay debt.
We actually had a budget surplus in the 90s, in the late 90s.
And so, yeah, it's that's the direction we're going. I don't know if it's going to be immediate. I don't know if next year the 3% will be the benchmark, but I mean,
believe we're at
some point it will be.
Do you believe we're at the point of no return?
Yeah, we were at the point of no return when we got off the gold standard.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay.
Yeah, okay. I mean, when you give politicians the skeleton key and say, hey, you can just print as much money as you want for your agendas, then at that point, you know what people in power, they're going to take advantage of it.
And guys, remember,
and it's not just U.S. This is just history, 100% in general. What do you think is going to happen? Your job is on the line. Just imagine you go to work and they're just like, hey man, your job's on the line, man. You're coming up for quarterly review. You need to make X amount of money, and you have control of the balance sheets. You know people are going to fudge the numbers.
Yeah, that's very true. What's your shirt today? You going to the beach after, or what?
You know, just survived the hurricane, so figured nice tropical weather, tropical theme. Why not? So.
All right, guys, let's bring on our guest today. We have, so he's been joining us regularly every month. We love having him on. It's Dan from the Chart Guys. Rocco, let's patch him in. Dan, how you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you?
We are excellent. We want to thank you so much again for joining us. We love having you on once a month. It's great. We love the way you break down the charts and your analysis on TA. Before we get into the charts, I do want to share. I saved one funny video, and I want you to join us in our trip down funny lane here. And you guys all know. Do you know who Zach Galifianakis is from The Hangover? Okay. So you know he has a podcast, right? I mean, he brings on like massive guests. We're talking like Bill Clinton. He's brought on Barack Obama. He's brought on Hillary Clinton, which is where this video is from. And well, Rocco, let's go ahead and cue up my laptop. And Rocco, just make sure that there you go. Keep it there because I want to see live reactions here. And so, well, here's Zach with Hillary Clinton on his podcast.
What's going to be the number one focus of your presidency?
Oh, Zach, it has to be the economy. We need more good jobs with rising incomes. We got to make the economy work for everybody, not just those at the top.
We need to take a break. We just need to have a word from our sponsor. Okay.
Washington is broken. The truth is, too many politicians are totally controlled by special interests and lobbyists. We're going to make America great again. I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
He approves the message.
Why would you play a commercial for my opponent in the middle of our interview?
He paid me in steaks.
I'd be afraid to eat them if I were you.
It's a good cut of meat. I think it's part of the asshole. Well, this has been a lot of fun, Mrs. Clinton. We should stay in touch. What's the best way to reach you? Email?
Guys, that was pretty funny. Any reaction, Dan? Any reaction? Anything you want to commentary you'd like to add to that?
I'm a big Galifianakis fan. He's got some good stand-up. Live at the Purple Onion, he's playing the piano. But Between Two Ferns, definitely on point.
Yeah, dude. That's guys, if you haven't seen it, there's some good stuff on there. Zach is hilarious. I love that he keeps the same, like, the way people view him, that funny guy, that stupid funny guy who makes comments like that. He's kept that mantra up pretty much through his entire thing. So, all right, Dan, let's take a look at the crypto markets. And before we look at it, today's market overview is brought to you by channel sponsor I Trust Capital. If you're planning on hodling your Bitcoin and you want to enjoy some of your gains tax-free in retirement, there is one company to go with, and that is I Trust Capital. If you want to set up a Roth IRA account, you can put in post-tax dollars and pull out money without paying taxes on it. So enjoy it tax-free in retirement. Now, we are dipping, and so happy to have you on as this is happening live. So we have BTC officially under $26,000, has broken that psychological, and I believe we're going to look at the charts here in a second, a key support level as well, 25.8. How much farther are we going to drop? We're going to ask Dan in here in a second, but taking a look at the volume, we're at 26 billion, which is still pretty low. I do assume this to tick up if we start seeing some mass liquidations, and the market cap of total crypto is hovering just above $1 trillion. Dan, I'm going to stop at Bitcoin, and I'm going to ask you for a Bitcoin chart, sir, if you can please. What's the next, now that we've broken 26, what's the next level to look out for? What is your strategy here?
So we've got the current low of 25.2. That was at least on Coinbase. It's going to vary based on the exchange you're looking at, but that's the current key level. And then if we go back to where we found support back in June, 24.7 is the next level that matters to me. And then, between there's not a whole lot until the low 20,000. So I am looking at, really, it's 24.7 that matters the most to me. And we are precariously hovering just above that. And, we're at a spot right now where it's really difficult to have any conviction looking long, just because we got the huge flush. We got oversold on a ton of time frames. The RSI on the daily got crushed. And it didn't even result, normally we'll see at least a little relief rally for a lower high. And here we didn't even get that. We just, stopped and traded sideways. And now we're fading back down towards that low.
Oh, sorry. I thought we lost you there. Okay. What is that? So that is on the daily. When you go out further to, let's say, the weekly, and I don't know how much of the more of the weekly charts you look at, Dan, but is there a key level on the weekly that we can't afford to lose? Is it the same across the board?
Yeah, it is that 24.7 level. And honestly, the bulls, even if we hold that, we then have to worry about a head and shoulders. And so, it's going to be a while before we get any kind of confidence. One thing that I keep bringing up on all the crypto talks that I go on is the dollar, because not many people are talking about the dollar. But if you pull up the dollar, and we're just going to compare here, if we look at the periods of weekly consolidation, we had a period here back in February. We had a period in May, and we've got this period now. Very distinct periods of consolidation. And if we look at the dollar this year, we've only had 3 periods of bounces, and guess when they happened?
Wow.
And so here we are. The dollar is currently at the high of this bounce. And the question is going to be, do we top out in the near term to allow some relief? And my mindset, even before this dump was, I cannot look long crypto or gold or silver if I have no confidence that the dollar is topping out. And so here's the dollar with a little daily bull flag. We're testing the high right now, and it's just continued strength. And so I will not look long crypto or metals as long as the dollar is seeing the strength, because the relationship all year has clearly been significantly inverse. And, the next question will be, once the dollar does top out, does it confirm the first weekly uptrend that we've seen in the last, all year? And if that were to happen, that would be continued bearish news for crypto and metals.
Interesting. Okay. I like I said, and I say this all the time, I love having different analysts on here because, people talk about the dollar, but when you look at the chart side by side, it's pretty obvious. The dollar's pumping like short Bitcoin, or at least if you're a swing trader, put those types of trades in.
And so it's followed the dollar cost index for the most part, Bitcoin.
Inversely, and it's not every single week. But it is very significant. It's clearly these periods of consolidation are when the dollar was bouncing, like the last 5 weeks here, and then pretty much all of May, and then all of February. And then this bottom here where we had this was a bear trap where, we're heading back to the fear lows, and then a V shape. Guess when the dollar topped out? It topped out right at that bottom, and then the dollar then pulled back for the next 5 weeks while Bitcoin did that.
And then Dan, can you? Now I know you got the RSI on there. I believe I think it's on the daily or the 4-hour time frame. The RSI was like the lowest. I don't want to say it's ever been, but it was at a 4, I believe. What? How do you use the RSI when you're looking at targets to either enter or exit a trade?
So the most important component to use with the RSI is the prevailing trend based on price action. And oversold RSI is not very useful if you're in downtrends on a bunch of timeframes. And so I would call it a back burner strategy. One of my most profitable trades is when we're in a bull market, we're in uptrends on all timeframes, and you buy the oversold conditions, and you'll have hourly oversold marking a daily higher low into breakout continuation. And it works the other way. The bears look for hourly overbought. And just as an example, I was talking about ADA here. ADA had a daily oversold bounce, and the most likely result of this bounce is a daily lower high because there's tons of space for it after that drop. And so where did we top out? Well, the hourly RSI got right up to overbought. And so long story short, I could talk about RSI for 24 hours in a row, but it is based on the prevailing trend. And so if we are in downtrends on the weekly, the daily chart, the hourly chart, oversold RSI is not as meaningful. And I will look to historical oversolds. If we can go back and say, this is the most oversold the 4-hour RSI has gotten in 5 years. And that will be, notable for me. Okay, I can use that as a part of my analysis. But where newer traders will get in trouble is they'll say, oh, well, hourly RSI under 30 means oversold, and that's a good time to bounce. And they just completely miss the context of what's the trend. If we're in a weekly and a daily uptrend, absolutely, hourly oversold conditions, keep an eye out for a bounce. If we're in a weekly and a daily downtrend, hourly RSI oversold doesn't mean anything to me. And that's the number one place where newer traders will trip up using RSI.
That's some great advice, Dan. And guys, if you're serious about trading, I hope you're really paying attention, because different TA experts have different things they look at, and what you essentially want to do is take all the expertise and kind of find what works for you. But I agree with you. I think a lot of people see, like, that term gets thrown around, and you see everyone on Twitter posting RSI is low, and then you get your time frames mixed up, or you're looking at the wrong data and you make a wrong move. Dan, I do want to shift from Bitcoin to macro really, really quick. And I'm just going to go ahead and show my laptop here. So this is from FinViz. This is the different sectors of the market. Taking a look at the 1 week, we have everything in the red minus energy. At the 1 month, energy and communication services are the only ones in the green, but everything's in the red. And then looking over 3 months, we do have utilities has just been getting destroyed. Anything on here that stands out to you, or anything on the macro side that you're really paying attention to?
Yeah, I mean, we're at a crossroads over the next month, in my opinion, where we had euphoria, the broader market for 3 months in the summer, May, June, July, just straight up and bulls on parade. And we got to a point, this is the NASDAQ long-term 4-month chart. So every candle is 4 months. We have the all-time high. We have our 2022 fear low. And the big question that I have there's 2 paths that we're going to see, in my opinion. One of them is a lower high failing the all-time high and a boring tightening 2024. Or the second scenario is a monthly cup and handle, where this is just a brief little pullback, and then we're going to see all-time highs. And the big time frame to be watching for that is the weekly chart. If the next time we get this bounce going, the bulls are attempting to shape up a weekly bounce. If we confirm a weekly downtrend, for me, that significantly increases probabilities of the lower high tightening range boring 2024. If we do not confirm the weekly downtrend, then a monthly bull flag is on the table. So once this bounce gets going, it's not officially underway yet. Really, the NASDAQ bulls would need to confirm the daily uptrend. Then we would zoom out to the weekly and watch that weekly bounce. But that's going to be key. And we're going to get that answer. By the end of September, we will either have confirmed the weekly downtrend, or the bulls will be bouncing their way back up. And that is going to significantly dictate not only what I think is coming in Q4, but also the first half of 2024. And again, those are 2 very different paths: cup and handle to all-time highs, or lower high, longer-term tightening range. And that's definitely going to impact crypto.
Awesome. I'm just kind of taking a look here in the top 10. You have Ethereum coming in at $1,627. BNB. So if you don't mind pulling up BNB, and then we're going to take a couple of requests here from our chat. There was a level of $212 that the analysts and everyone say, hey, this is the number that the exchange Binance is looking to keep the price of the BNB token over before we see mass liquidations. We know Binance holds a majority of these BNB tokens.
Binance holds the majority of the tokens, and this price is outperforming Bitcoin and the rest of the markets. It's
It's
very sus.
Yeah, Robin brought this up on the show yesterday. It's a little suspect that Binance's BNB token has seemed to outperform the rest of the markets. Are you seeing kind of the same thing? And also, a second part of this question, Dan, is what, like, are we at a key support level? Like, what is the level that if we lose, it's a free fall from down there?
So it definitely was the case that Binance was stronger than Bitcoin. I mean, you look at here, all of 2021, 2022, stronger. This right now is the BNB BTC chart. So this is Binance relative to Bitcoin. If it's going up, Binance is stronger. If it's going down, Binance is weaker. And so we did top out, and pretty much the entire year we have been weaker than Bitcoin. It was a big turnaround. If we look on the monthly time frame, it's straight up 2022, straight down 2023. So a big shift has been taking place. And as far as Binance actual price, I'm looking down at 220 was key that we just broke. It was a little weekly bear flag. And now it's really 183. And if we break 183, we're then at the lowest level that we've seen in years. And there is a lack of support under 183. You can see, we traded in the 30s and then rocket ship. So really between 183 and 39, there's not a ton of price action. Yeah.
That's a big gap. That is an extremely big gap. And, whenever you bring up Binance and say something slightly negative that's out there, people call us out your fighting. But it's important to understand these things because we saw what happened with FTX and the FTT token. There was a $22 level they were looking at holding, and when it collapsed, everything collapsed. I'm not saying that Binance is going to follow the same fate, but it's important just to keep those things in mind. Dan, can we take a look at AVAX? We do have a story about a lot of tokens unlocking. What's the structure on AVAX saying?
AVAX is definitely weak. So we had a bounce that set another lower high. And one thing that stands out is we don't have a ton of altcoins that have already broken the summer lows. Some have, but there's a bunch that have not yet. And I can see AVAX has already broken that level. That was down at $10 psychological. And we can see, again, new fear low. Any coin that is hitting the lowest level in the last 2 years, it clearly is standing out as one of the weakest coins because we know Bitcoin is nowhere near that low. I mean, we can go down the list of how many coins are not near their fear low, and AVAX is. So we're looking down at, 932 here. If we lose 932, we're suddenly at the lowest level that we've seen in over 2.5 years. And again, same deal, after, and this is just Binance history, but after 932, there is air until we get back to where we came from, back down, $2-3. So as we know, so many of these altcoins are going to fade into oblivion. And so anything that is in a downtrend on every single time frame and is at the lowest level in years, and I assume without even looking, AVAX BTC is showing us that it's the weakest it's ever been compared to Bitcoin. Maybe not exactly ever, but again, just this chart just shows us, anything that's in a downtrend like this is bearish. I mean, it's just as bearish as you can get. So it's the kind of thing where, is it a good deal fundamentally? That's the mindset I think we should be avoiding because fundamentals are so subjective and all it takes is a little market fear for that to, completely go out the window. And don't fight the trends. When you're in a downtrend on every single time frame, wait. You can wait for the bulls to prove something. I just want to go through a quick example. Microsoft, completely unrelated, but I went long Microsoft, and this is one of my better swing trades as I'm a day trader, and it takes a lot for me to hold something for months. But I was looking for a long-term entry in 2022, or actually it was the start of 2023, and I was looking for a play off these lows. So we had a low of 211, 217, 217. Then the bulls proved something to me. This was just a straight up bounce for a week and a half. Okay, bulls are defending that support very clearly. And so on the next consolidation, I make my entry and I've got my stop loss. I know the level I'm playing off of. My thesis is based on this level holding. If this level doesn't hold, I'm wrong. I need to stop out. And so if you're just scaling into a perpetual downtrend with no levels to be playing off of, where is your thesis invalidated? We have to have that invalidation point to know and be able to say, yep, I was wrong. Gotta, get out of that trade. And so I would suggest doing that with any coin, even if it's fundamentals you're interested in, have to have a level that you're playing off of to be your invalidator.
Yeah, I agree. And, when you think about fundamentals, you think about, the traditional stock market stocks, you have tons of data you can look at, EBITDA and P&E and P&L. Crypto, it's a little more subjective, and you can look at token unlocks and circulating supply, but it's very minimal compared to what you're able to do with on the traditional side. So kind of tend to agree with you there, but there are projects that some people don't really care. Price action, they plan on holding it for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. That's a different story. Everything's pretty much in the red. I do want to take a couple requests from the chat. So what we got is Matic. Matic recently slipped outside of the top 10. It is currently sitting at number 13. This is a project that we're pretty bullish on here on the channel. They're continuously making big partnerships. Is there an entry level that people should be looking at, an area of support that we're close to or we're at maybe that you should keep an eye on?
So again, I really like these. The first thing I look at when I'm looking at an altcoin is their comparison to Bitcoin. I just want to know, how do we stand compared to Bitcoin? And this is showing me that, this base of support down here, which we're testing right now, this is the weekly time frame. This is the weakest that Matic has been compared to Bitcoin anytime in the last 2 years. So the bulls really want to hold this level because the last thing we want to say is we're the weakest we've been compared to Bitcoin in the last 2 years. So that's something to be keeping an eye on. But as far as the specific levels for Matic itself, 50 cents, the recent low, as I mentioned, many names have not broken the summer low yet, and Matic has not, but we're testing it. And then after that, we're looking down at really 31.6 as a must-hold level. And if we're going, long-term, big picture, this is the 4-month chart. We just looked at the NASDAQ 4-month chart. This is, where we came from, the low, the all-time high, higher low, lower high. And if we drop down and break that 31.6 level, that's a very bearish longer-term break. So the best case for the bulls going forward would be holding 31.6 and trying to salvage a tightening range in the longer term. But we're running out of real estate. We've got to see that turn around sooner rather than later.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. Rob, do you want to pick another one, another coin from the chat? And then we'll let Dan go after. You also saw Casp up there. Quant was up there. Hedera, Injective, just some of the ones I kind of saw.
I saw Ethereum. Okay, what about Ethereum? Is there? I know it has been following Bitcoin for the most part. It did outperform Bitcoin during the what was it, a few months ago? I think it was like a month, 2 months ago when it switched over to proof of stake. But I don't know.
So one thing, again, first thing, BTC pairing chart when I'm looking at any alt. So we got pretty much a quadruple top here where, these periods are ETH trying to gain against Bitcoin, relative strength, showing some relative strength, and even on this bounce. So Bitcoin dumps, ETH bounces, Bitcoin's not bouncing. So it tried again, but it's 4 tops at this level. So I can just simplify it and say, if we cannot get over this level, Ethereum is not going to gain against Bitcoin, and I'm better off being in Bitcoin. If we get over this level, I could say, okay, that's a shift for the first time in over 2 months. ETH is the strongest it's been to Bitcoin. Maybe I want to start considering ETH over Bitcoin if I'm looking for a long setup. As far as the ETH specific levels, it's the fear low down at 1540, that flush low as a key level that must hold. And then as far as the longer term, there's a few levels from the way up. We have a little bit of support. 1369 is key. But one thing that the entire crypto market is really should be concerned with at the moment is, again, the 4-month long-term timeframes and looking at our Fibonacci retracements, because we know that if we bounce 50% from a drop, then we have favor to form higher lows and try and work on uptrends. But if we don't bounce to 382 retracement, that's a bear flag. And right now, Bitcoin and all of these coins are longer-term bear flags. And the burden is on the bulls to prove to us that they are not longer-term bear flags by seeing more follow through. Later into next year, I have to see ETH make its way up to 2,600 if we're going to negate this long-term bear flag. If we were to see, let's go back to that NASDAQ scenario. So if the NASDAQ sets a long-term lower high and gives us a tightening 2024, we're going to be fading back down in crypto, trying to hold these recent lows. And it just puts us at a precarious situation where it wouldn't take much for us to drop and break the lows of 2022. And again, if that happens, we can look at a lot of these charts and say, this is the most significant bearish development on longer term charts that we've seen in 5+ years. So the lows of 2022 are must hold levels from here.
Awesome. Dan, we wanted to thank you so much again for joining us. If people enjoy your content and they want to get more of it, can you please tell the people watching where they can find more of Dan and more from the Chart Guys?
Sure. So we got the website, chartguys.com. We're on YouTube, Chart Guys. We put out daily content there. And of course, on Twitter, @ChartGuys. And we'd be happy for you to check out our immense library of free content.
Awesome. And then, Dan, can we see your beautiful hair before we log you off?
I'm attempting.
When people see you, they know what to look for. And guys, we have pinned. I think I asked you this question: how much does someone have to pay you to cut your hair? But
Dan's channel is also brought to you by Pantene Pro V.
I found a new shampoo. I have been shampoo hasn't meant a thing for me my whole life, and then I found some random one. I was like, oh, this makes a difference. So
when I was growing up, I had long hair at one point. First of all, name Robin and long hair just doesn't mix. By the way, in case you're wondering.
Good point.
But when I had long hair, my mom, she always bought me growing up. She bought me the horse shampoo. I don't know why. I had like the giant bottle of shampoo. It was like this.
A horse shampoo. Now things are starting to make sense, actually. Guys, we have put the link to the Chart Guys YouTube channel on there. Go follow Dan on Twitter as well. And Dan, thank you so much again for joining us, my friend. We look forward to bringing you on again next month. And enjoy the rest of your week.
Thanks. You too. See you then.
Take care.
All right, brother.
All right. We have breaking news from another man with luscious hair. Not as luscious, but it's Sam Bankman-Fried.
It's nothing luscious. It looks like a
right.
Brillo
He's a
pad.
piece of crap. And I want to apologize for even putting Dan's hair and this guy's hair in the same conversation. So my apologies, Dan. If you're still listening, I apologize. No harm meant there. But defense lawyers say that Sam Bankman-Fried, so these are his lawyers, that he can't adequately prepare for trial in 6 weeks while in jail without proper access to computers, necessary medications to help him concentrate, and better diet than bread, water, and peanut butter. Well, I do have
I hate
one fix. Don't be a scamming piece of crap who frauded people out of $10 billion. That's a start. Like boo-hoo, bro.
You know what? You go to prison,
right here.
your dietary options, they're just not good. It's just the facts
There
of
is
life.
meat available in more ways than one. You just don't want it. Just don't want it. That's all I'm saying.
Bro, look, you go to jail, bro. That's it, man. You're getting fed by taxpayer dollars.
Unless you go into the electric chair.
You better not be eating better than me. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Like no one feels bad for you, Sam. It's okay. Okay, you're gonna rot in jail. Hopefully.
He's like, yesterday there was a cockroach in my jail cell.
Who do I call? Who do I complain to? All right. Chinese government official has been sentenced to life in prison for operating an illegal Bitcoin mining enterprise. Damn. What happened to China's pro Bitcoin now, pro crypto now? So it was sad, messed up.
Hey, you can be pro crypto, and they got no qualms on locking people up for life, sending them to death for major, like corporate theft. And so there's a lot of CEOs that either disappear or go to jail for life. And it's a little different than here in the States where you can fight your way out of it. If you get a target on your back in China and you're a billionaire and they say you stole or fraud, you're done, bro. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the median is. I think this is kind of lost in, in our. I think the story gets muddied because it's Bitcoin, but this is just the median. He could have frauded or stole money or whatever it was, cheated, Ponzi schemed if it would have been the national currency or
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
but it was just mining Bitcoin.
This isn't a reference to the guy that was running a pyramid scheme for Polygon's Bitcoin?
No, this is a Bitcoin mining enterprise.
Or no, it's Filecoin.
That was Filecoin.
Oh, I thought this was okay. Just to give some context on where I was coming from here. Someone in China was running a mining operation for Filecoin, got convicted of running a Ponzi scheme for funds, basically seed round funds. He pocketed a bunch, and that was in China. And the Chinese government went after him. I thought that was this guy. No, just dude running a mining farm.
Bitcoin mining, bro.
That sucks, dude.
Be careful.
But yeah, it's still illegal. Yeah. Here's the thing. There's lots of states. There's states in the U.S. that weed is still illegal, right? And so if you're, I don't know what state it would be, but if you're in that state and you all of a sudden have a giant farm full of marijuana plants, well, hey, you
guys got to remember,
you gotta still respect the law.
They made Bitcoin mining illegal in the country. So keep that in mind. All right, let's move on from China to the ocean as we're taking a look at a new whale. Mysterious whale acquires $3 billion worth of Bitcoin in 3 months. $3 billion in 3 months. A mysterious whale has accumulated more than $3 billion of Bitcoin, positioning themselves as the third largest Bitcoin address globally. This mysterious wallet initiated their accumulation strategy mid-May and has not sold a single BTC since its inception. And here's a look at the wallet. This is from bitinfocharts.com. 118,300 Bitcoin, which is a balance of about $3 billion USD dollars. You can see here all the transactions and how they're purchasing. So they purchased, there are a couple of big buys. They bought 6,600 Bitcoin on June 28th, 13,300 Bitcoin on June 14th, another 1,900 on June 14th, 9,000 on June 1st. So a lot in June. And again, this did start on May 8th with looks like a test transaction of a quarter of a Bitcoin. And then the first big buy was May 16th with 3,400 Bitcoin. Now, Robin, do want to mention, this is almost exactly 1 month before BlackRock filed for a spot ETF. Is this Bitcoin whale BlackRock? Are they gearing up? Has to be, right?
Well, I would okay if it
Who's
was
got that kind of money,
if
Robin?
it was only BlackRock's exposure. So remember, BlackRock was going to offer crypto services, right?
Correct.
And they were going to offer like I forget exactly what their services were, but BlackRock wasn't just only going to do Bitcoin as ETF. So I'm thinking that even if they didn't get the ETF approved, they still going to offer crypto services in one way or another. And so
could this be Elon?
Makes sense, yeah.
Could this be Elon or
No,
one of
it's
Elon's
not Elon.
companies?
It's BlackRock. It has to be BlackRock, right?
That's what I said. Has to be BlackRock. And so, but we will find out. We will find out.
$3 billion in 3 months.
$3 billion.
So they're buying $1 billion of Bitcoin a month in the middle of a bear market.
And they didn't sell any of it.
The list of potential
candidates
is probably 5 names long, right?
Yeah.
There's only like 5 people on this planet that could just buy $1 billion worth of Bitcoin every single month. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could throw nation states in there, but that's not possible.
You know, Alex81 brought up a good point. He said institutions use tens of thousands of wallets. They wouldn't load up on one. Come on. That was my first thought as well.
I agree, but BlackRock also
did that thought also crossed my mind.
So they're just keeping all that in one wallet too?
That's
nuts, bro.
That
means they have absolute confidence in the security, right? I mean, you gotta have they probably for those of you that don't know, when you get into the billions of dollars of Bitcoin, there are companies that custody this off grid inside of a bunker with security personnel, an entire company, elevators that go underground.
Yeah.
And this is not an exaggeration.
No, it's true.
This is straight up like you can hire a Bitcoin custodial service where you have to go into a remote region of the country. It's a bunker. You walk into an elevator. No cameras are allowed. You take the elevator like 50 stories down into the ground into like an old missile silo. They have entire mainframe network down there that isn't connected to the internet, that is self-sustained even if all the power went out, and they can custody your Bitcoin there. And so they have to be using something like that, right? Because if you're confident.
Or Youth Hearted brought up a good point. Tether, they did announce around the same time that they were going to take 15% of their net profits and purchase Bitcoin. They're in the space. I can see them. Here's the thing. If it is BlackRock, we're going to find out. You know why? Because when they file their quarterly reports to the SEC, they're going to have to disclose everything on their balance sheet.
I think even with Tether, here's the thing. How much of Tether is sloshing around as liquidity, right? So their market cap is $80 billion on Tether. So at least I would say 50 billion would have to be somewhat liquid. And when I say somewhat liquid, it cannot be in Bitcoin, like, right? And so then you got 30 billion left for Tether. Are they going to put 10% into Bitcoin in 3 months?
That's what
I think the only thing you can look at is companies that are at a minimum of $1 trillion, and there's only like 5, and that's
okay,
right?
It's interesting. Either way, guys, whoever the hell it is, they're buying Bitcoin, and they didn't sell any, and so they're continuing to buy big chunks. This is where we're at, and it's going to continue to happen. It's going to happen even more as the Bitcoin goes mainstream with a spot ETF. All right, let's move on from BTC to AVAX.
Huh?
Bitcoin AVAX? Avalanche?
Oh.
Yeah.
Too many letters, bro.
Thank you. AVAX price bucks under pressure of upcoming $102 million token unlock. It's going to read some parts of the article. So $102 million in AVAX is set to be unlocked. AVAX has one of the highest inflation rates per year. We're going to go over that here in a second. Total of 9.54 million tokens are set to be unlocked on Saturday. This accounts for 2.7% of the total supply. I do have token.unlocks.app pulled up here. If you guys want to use this yourselves, feel free to do so. Look at the 1-year emission rate, 24.5%.
Jesus.
24.5%. AVAX is currently sitting under 50% of circulating to max token supply.
What Dan showed on the chart with Avalanche, it
did not look good. It's under $10 officially.
So under $10. Here's the thing. I think a lot of the layer ones have really stood out and put a flag down for what they're going to change or what they're going to do, what they're known for. And I feel like Avalanche really hasn't stood out from the pack, right? In the layer ones, the layer one smart contract platforms. I mean, you go down the list, you got BNB. It is basically a discounted Ethereum as far as on the smart contract platform where you can launch DeFis and smart contracts and get into meme coins. XRP, we know that. What they're going for. Cardano, banking the unbanked, the NFT, moving into very strong decentralized ecosystem. And then you also got Solana. They're fast, right? VC.
UX is
great. Mean, I'm just saying, you go down the list, everyone is touting something that makes them unique. I mean, even in the same range of Avalanche, you got Chainlink, Stellar, Monero, Uniswap, everybody. I know Uniswap's not a layer one, but
you're right. Uniswap is not a layer one, they layer two. But I know, I kind of understand where you're going, and I'm just looking at, when you take a look at, of course, from a price standpoint, right? 24.5% yearly inflation rate is not good. But I'm still bullish on Avalanche long term. I do believe Avalanche. Oh, there we go. That's what you kind of were talking about.
Yeah, just nothing in this whole zone. All the layer ones really just stand out. They offer something to the market. And I'm not saying that Avalanche is useless. I'm just saying that they haven't put their brand or stamp behind something that they're trying to corner, right?
Well, I mean, they came out with the Evergreen subnets, right? That's supposed to be geared towards institutions and enterprises. So it looks like they're rooting themselves in. They want to be the enterprise chain.
They've had a lot of different, I think they were working on some CBDC frameworks for some nation states. I've seen them building out, and so I don't want to dismiss Avalanche. And I know that they were working on NFTs, or that there are NFTs on Avalanche. That was pretty much a dud though. And they got DeFi, but it's minute. I don't know. I would just be. They need something, man. They need something
to hang their hat on.
Yeah, they need something to hang their hat on.
There's a lot of competition. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So you take a look at,
would you rather invest in Cosmos or Avalanche?
That's a tough question.
I would pick Cosmos all day.
I would probably pick
because
Cosmos.
there's so many different chains partnering with them. There's not that much competition, and the
I would do it
zero.
from an interoperability standpoint.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And their Cosmos hub, I think, is
exactly. And then, would you rather go with Chainlink or Avalanche?
Oh, Chainlink all day long.
This is exactly my narrative. Is that everyone
doesn't mean I'm not going to invest in Avalanche.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that just Stellar, Avalanche, it just goes on and on. There's the only one that I would probably not go with would be Monero, because
you're crazy.
I think Monero's got such a stain with its privacy. I think it's being. I think Monero's been attacked by government agencies,
and it's still in the top 25. I would argue the opposite.
No. Well, Monero was in the top 5 in 2017. Okay, so it is slipping. It is slipping fast. Dominance on this one is out the window. It's been outperformed by all altcoins last market, and it's still falling. And it's got a major target. It has liquidity issues with listings. There's major exchanges that don't touch it. And so it's all about liquidity. You can like something, you can sit here and say it's the best idea, but if it ain't listed on the big exchanges, it ain't going to pop off. It's not going to 100x if you can't get it listed on Coinbase and Binance and all the other big boys. At the end of the day, if the world, United States government and world economies, they fight against it, Sorry, bro.
I'm just saying, we're seeing a growing narrative of surveillance and privacy being eradicated.
All the more point.
If we get a CBDC, like people's only outlet to privacy is a token like Monero, I think people are going to find their way.
And
outside of an
governments are
exchange
going to find their way to tighten up the wrench even more. And so, like, you literally are making the argument when you say, like, hey, they're trying to eradicate, privacy and all that. Like, that's it right there. They're trying to get rid of privacy. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to get rid of the privacy coins. And anyways, there's just
going to get rid of the
target.
I guess they can tornado cash it, but
they've been outlawing. Yeah, they've been outlawing it. There's no shortage of these. There's just article after article on the attack on Monero.
Of course, because the government. But how come? Okay, so how come they haven't?
That's all I'm saying is.
So how come it hasn't gotten the tornado cash treatment then?
Well, it's not a Tornado Cash is a Tumblr service, yes, and Monero is. You can make an argument that Monero is pretty decentralized. I mean, it's more of a way to move money privately.
I think you're kind of making my point.
Yeah, but you got to stay within the ecosystem, and so you got to find other people that take Monero, right? And so it's not like I buy Monero and then when I take out my cash, it's all private too. So there you can just transact in Monero. So you would have to buy Monero, find somebody that can take it, and then transact with them, and then like that, and nobody knows what you're doing. I think it's very that's what I'm saying. It's very unique, and it's kind of taboo in finance. So
I think it's going to have a place, or maybe not Monero, but a privacy.
What I'm saying, my whole thesis here is that Avalanche is more comfortable than Monero. Everything else is not. That's it. Like in this range for me. I mean, you can discount Ethereum Classic, like no Ethereum Classic, but Hedera, even ICP.
Didn't you say you were bullish on Ethereum Classic, Robin, when ETH went to proof of stake?
In the short-term price target, yeah.
I thought bullish.
No.
Smart man.
I think that dumb money will look at ETH Classic as a discounted Ethereum. And so I will always keep an eye out on Ethereum Classic for when dumb money comes in. Because Ethereum Classic, for some reason, is listed on damn near every exchange and every platform and
PayPal and
and
EDX,
so where you have on and off boards that don't have a large library of tokens, and there's like 4 or 5. And you're new money, and you're like, okay, I can buy Bitcoin, I can buy Ethereum, I can buy Doge. That's the dog one, right? Oh, everyone's been telling me about Ethereum, and this Ethereum's only $15,
and it's classic.
Yeah, and
technically it is the first.
It's like, which one's better?
Robin, go back to your
Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Classic.
Coca-Cola Classic. The Mexican Coca-Cola is the best.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Hands down.
And so you get new money in, they're like Ethereum Classic, and
doesn't
then
come close.
Go
back to your computer real quick. Pull that up. I want to ask you a question.
What's up?
ICP or Filecoin at $3.33. They're even.
I'd take Filecoin.
Filecoin?
Just because Filecoin tends to be a little bit more of a niche service that isn't as saturated. And so with data storage management and the integration of smart contracts with
Ponzi mining schemes.
That's nothing to do with this one.
I know.
But it does have some inflationary issues, and I don't have the tokenomics. I don't have the tokenomics on me. But if you were just to look at previous all-time highs, $180. Now, there's a lot more tokens in circulation now than at this point. So
30%, bruh.
30%. God damn. What is going on, man? Why is there so much inflation?
Because only 22% of their supply is circulating.
Ugh.
And look at this unlock schedule. I mean, for God's sake.
Maybe I take that back.
But 2027, okay? That's when we're going all the way out to 2047. So for the next 25 years.
What's the tokens looking like for ICP?
ICP?
Yeah. If you asked me to compare the two.
ICP's not on here.
It's not.
No. But ICP did have that issue of it came out. I think it was at like $700, $500, $600, $700.
That was just the market makers, and it was Alameda Research that launched ICP
exactly.
And
so yeah,
so you had FTX that basically sent out a token at an inflated price, where they were the ones that were the market makers controlling majority of the tokens at initial launch. And it's very simple mathematics here. Hey, ICP gave us a ton of tokens to launch this project.
Right.
Let's launch it at $700.
Yeah.
Hey, let's sell some of our tokens to the people that are buying it, right?
Yeah.
They don't have to dump it on the markets. All they're doing is selling it to the people that are trying to buy it, which is dumping on the markets.
They fucking destroyed people.
They
destroyed
They
people.
destroyed the token price.
Yeah.
They started selling it at
almost destroyed the
$700,
entire project, bro.
$200, $100, and this is at $3. And so Alameda Research, which is another arm of FTX, they had all of the tokens for the project, and they were just selling it at over $100 a pop to anybody that was buying it on their exchanges.
You know,
that crushed them, man. And I'm surprised they even bounced back, honestly.
I mean, has it?
I mean, look at this.
We're at $3.
God, look at this chart.
I mean,
that is
what is that? All
that
time?
is
That's an
brutal.
all-time chart,
That's
bro.
the
Like,
yeah.
okay,
so-
let me ask you this question. You look at this chart on anything else, that's a rug pull, right? Take the name out of it. I say, Robin, what does it look like? You're going to tell me it's a rug pull, right?
I don't. Well, here's the thing. You can also just have a removal of liquidity dead project. You could say that. But if you were to take away the market price, the market manipulation on what the market makers did.
Okay, so you saw
Still.
a pump up to what, 60, 70, 80 bucks? Can you argue that should have been the real, all-time high for ICP?
Well, here's the thing. Circulating supply, 441 million versus total supply, 500.
Is that infinity on the max?
Yeah. So they must have some kind of staking protocol that offers rewards.
Yeah,
for
I
mining.
don't have enough expertise to speak on, but
Yeah, fully diluted market cap,
1.7.
1.6 billion.
It's
with
not
the
too far
market
off.
market cap of 1.4. The tokenomics, I don't know. I'd have to look into this. What is this max supply? What does their inflationary schedule look like? What kind of rewards are they giving to the stake pool operators? That I'd be curious about. But with the other, with circulating supply, total supply, market cap, I would feel a little more comfortable in this versus Filecoin. But I do like Filecoin's business model.
utility, what they do.
Yeah, but
I agree.
That
You do have other options. Arweave's a good one.
30% is rough, man. On inflation for Filecoin
Yeah, that's yearly. That's
yearly, yeah.
unless you get like massive liquidity coming in. You brought up, you mentioned how the market makers make the price when a token comes out. I watched the Brian Armstrong documentary that they shared on the Coinbase. I think we retweeted it on our Twitter, but it was very interesting. I watched that whole thing. It was a great documentary, by the way. Definitely recommend you guys go watch it. It's on YouTube. But at the very end, when Coinbase stock was going public, it showed how they make the price of when they launch public. It was very intriguing to see. I never saw behind the scenes of NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange and how they really come up with a list price. And it was very intriguing. I look at that, but then I'm thinking about what Robin just said and how the market makers in crypto, hey, we have all the liquidity. We can do whatever freaking price we want. And so with ICP, pretty safe to say they completely destroyed and wrecked the guys. Okay. Okay, so it was Gemini on the mysterious swap. Well, that's no fun. That's no fun at all. I guess Gemini swapped. When was that? When was that, by the way, Rocco? When did that come out? 9 hours ago? All right. So I guess our research team missed that, which would be me. So, guys, it was Gemini, but either way, it was fun. Whether or not it was Gemini or not, which we now know is Gemini, all I'm saying is the mass amount of Bitcoin buying that's going to come in from BlackRock and the institutions, it's going to be massive, whether it's because they're swapping wallets or whether they're buying new cryptocurrencies of Bitcoin. So, do want to give one more shout out to channel sponsor CAMS, Blue Wire Technology. If you run a business and you want to maximize your networking, IT, and cybersecurity, visit bluewiretech.com. Also, follow us on X. X gonna give it to you. We're gonna give you a lot of tweets and posts and reposts. Also, before I forget, I will be joining Frankie Candles in about 2 hours and 40 minutes. Make sure to stop by.
I didn't give any love to the chat today, so if y'all are even still here, we got Brian Ferris, Hotel J, Aria Fit, Barbic 07, Tyler Papa Guth, Seaton, and Auntie the Great. Hola! Adios.
And then, you want to support the channel? Find a way to do it. There's plenty of ways. If you look in the link, if you look in the description of this video, you'll find plenty of links. And, Rocco, what else? You got anything else? We are good to go. Set the dawn. Oh, yeah. Also, check out merch store. Whale members, 10% off. Big shout out to you, Whale members. And big shout out to this finger. Finger Hurricane. That's your cue, Rocco. Music's playing? Where's the music? It's not playing. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It was a pleasure. Come back tomorrow, same place, same time. On behalf of all of us here at Sincere Crypto, we love you guys. Until tomorrow. Peace.
Don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.